Hey everyone and welcome back. Have you ever noticed your Angular application getting slower and slower the longer you use it? So you might be dealing with the most common and silent performance killer in our Angular application, which is a memory leak. So the number one cause of memory leaks in Angular is forgetting to unsubscribe from RxJS observables. It's an easy mistake to make, but it can have a serious impact on your app performance. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to visually prove a memory leak is happening. Then I'll show you two different ways to solve this problem. One would be the old way to fix it, and the other would be the modern professional Angular way. So understanding this is a critical step to become a better Angular developer. So let's dive in. Okay, so to understand this problem, I have set up a brand new minimal Angular project as you can see here on the screen. So we are going to create a service that provides a stream of data, and we need a component that subscribes to it. So as you can see, I already got this data service class here, and you can create this using this ngOnDestroy command. Perfect. So now inside this data service file, I have created an observable using this RxJS interval function. So you can see this one. So what this will do is it will emit a new number every single second. So basically it's simulating a real-time data source like a stock ticker or a notification service. So basically it is an observable that never completes on its own. So basically it will be running every second. Every second it will emit seconds, like for example 1, then 2, then 3 and 4. So like this. Okay, so next thing is we need a component which will subscribe to this data. Okay, this continuous stream of data, we need a component who can subscribe it to, right? So I've already created the component which is leak demo component. Use the ngc command and you can see this is our component. Okay, so this component basically it should go here and subscribe to this data. Okay, so in order to do that, first of all we need to inject our service. Okay, so first I'll implement my onInit here like this, and here I'll inject my service. So I'll inject my data service and I'll use the inject function here to declare the service, and we'll import it like this. Perfect. Now we need to call the data from the service inside our ngOnInit. So I'll declare the method here ngOnInit, and inside this we will subscribe to this data stream. So using this data service we can get access to this method. Okay, get real-time data. So here I'll say this dot data service dot we can get real-time data like this, and we'll subscribe. So we'll say dot subscribe. Inside this we'll get the value, open our arrow bracket, we'll open the object, and we can write our console log. So for the information I'll write here data received, okay, this bit, and then we can pass the value here. So now we can see in our log what data we are receiving using this service. Okay, perfect. So with this now we'll be able to see our data in real time in the log. So now we have to prove the leak is happening or not. Okay, now comes the final moment. So basically we need to start this whole process, right? Basically wherever user is clicking to start this process, so we need to go and make a button. So inside app component.ts, first I'll create a boolean. Okay, and here I'll say show demo. So basically to show this demo, and I'll give it false in the beginning like this. Now I'll go in HTML and I'll create a button so that user can click and basically call that service. Okay, so inside the div I'll have a button, and in this button I'll give a click event listener to this button, and on this click event listener what I'll do, I'll make this show demo property which was false as the opposite always. So I'll say show demo like this. Okay, and inside this we can just have some text to show the user. So we'll say if show demo is true, then we can show here like this, destroy our component, basically destroy demo component. Otherwise we can just say that create demo component. Perfect. I hope that makes sense. Okay, now what do we need to do? After this button we will show our this component, the app leak demo, this one. So here I'll say app leak demo. Okay, now when do we want to show this component? We want to only show this component when our show demo is true, right? So here we'll use ng if condition, and we'll say if show demo is true, then only show. So now this is giving error because we need to go in our component and we need to import this. Okay, the component which we are using, this is basically our leak demo component. Okay, and as we are also using ngIf, we need to import our common module too. So I'll say common module here, and now if I save it and we go to our browser, and I'll open inspect here, and I'll open the console log, and here as soon as I click on this create demo component, as expected you will see data receive 0, data receive 1, 2. So basically our service is working properly and it's logging number every seconds. So basically now when I click on destroy demo component, it should stop receiving this data, right? So you see what happens. As soon as I click on this, I'm still receiving the data, right? Even though I click on the destroy component. Why? Because the subscription we made in the ngOnInit, here you can see inside the ngOnInit, is still alive in the memory because it is still listening and it is still logging all the data from the service. So this is what is a memory leak. So we need to fix it. So we need to make sure that it doesn't listen to it anymore, even if our component is destroyed. So let's focus on fixing this problem. Okay, so we have two ways for handling these subscriptions. Okay, so we'll go them from good to better. So first is the old way, which is basically manually unsubscribing the observable. Okay, so the most direct way to fix this is to store the subscription as you can see inside a property and then manually call .unsubscribe in our ngOnDestroy lifecycle hook. Okay, so that's like an old way to do it. So I'll show you how we do it. First, we need to implement our onDestroy here. So I'll implement onDestroy, and after ngOnInit here, I'll also implement ngOnDestroy. Perfect. So now inside this, basically we need to unsubscribe. So for that, we need a variable where we can store this data. Okay. So here, after where I've injected my service, I'll say private and we'll call it data subscription like this. And this would be basically of type subscription. So Angular provides us with this, as you can see from RxJS. So what it will do, basically we'll store our subscription inside this. So you'll see, I'll say here this dot data subscription equals to this dot data service dot get real time data. Okay. So everything is same, we're just storing the value inside this. Perfect. Now what do we need to do? We need to unsubscribe to this observable. So we'll just take this here. We'll say this dot data subscription dot. You can see it provides us with the unsubscribe method. Easy as that. So now once we do this, it should automatically unsubscribe. We just need to give a value here like this. Okay, and we'll also just console log here just to see if it's getting destroyed or not. So subscription destroyed. Okay, so now if I save it and we go back to our application this time, and if I click this, okay, you can see the data received 0, 1, 2, 3. It's working fine. Okay, as soon as I click on destroy demo component this time, you can see subscription destroyed, and we do not see the service giving us more numbers. So this works perfectly, but this is a bit manual. As you see that you have to remember what component you have subscribed, then you have to go and unsubscribe to it again. So imagine if you have multiple subscriptions in your component and then in your application, you have to every time go and remember and unsubscribe those. If you forget, then you can have data leaks and memory problem. So this can get messy. So for this, we have a better and the best solution, which is using a async pipe. So this is the most simplest solution you can find. So if you basically need to take the data from an observable like this, right? And you need to display the data into your HTML, in that case, close your eyes and always use async pipe because it handles everything, including from subscribing to unsubscribing and getting the latest value automatically. So this is the best option available. So I'll show you how we do that now. Okay, now to display the data, we need to get the data, right? So inside the TS, I'll remove all these bits because we don't need them anymore now. So I'll go here, I'll remove these bits, also the subscription. And what we'll do, we need to again get the data from our service, right? So we already injected that. I'll create a data observable. So I'll say data dollar whenever you're going to create observable. So this would be observable of type number, right? Because we are receiving number. And here inside we'll get the data. So we'll say this dot data service dot get real time data. Perfect. So we are getting our data directly from the service and storing it inside this. Okay, now we need to display this data, right? So we'll take it inside our HTML and I'll open the div here, and inside this I can display the value. So I'll say latest value, and now inside the curly brackets I need to have the data. So in order to get that, I'll use ngIf. So I'll use ngIf here, and now inside this I'll say data observable like this. I'll use the async pipe. Okay, and we'll get the data as data. So now we can take this data and we can just show it here. Okay, so you can see the error is gone. Only thing is we are using ngIf. So inside our component here, we can go in the imports and we can import our common module like this. And once I save it, I do not need these 2 bits, so I'll remove them and also remove the implements here because we're not implementing anything. And now if you save it and going back to our HTML, I'll go through it again. So we used ngIf to load our data observable and use this async pipe. That's it. Only thing we need is the async pipe in this template. This will handle our entire lifecycle for us. Okay. So now if we save this and we go to our application, okay, this time when I click on create demo component, you will see it says leak demo works. Okay, latest value 1, 2, 3. It's running continuously. But as soon as I click on destroy demo component, you will see it's destroyed and we do not see anything else. So our subscription is working properly. Perfect. So with this, you have learned how to solve a memory leak in Angular and how to unsubscribe use async pipe as well. So if you want to see how we apply this logic in a huge real world project, then please check out my full stack Jira Clone application. It's linked right at the top of the description. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.